Hey, Ashland, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, Mindy, it's nice to meet you too. So, what are we working on today?
So I have this project called a QI, and it's like a paper that we do in the nursing major, where we take a issue in nursing care, and then we have to research and discuss why there's like a gap in care. Um,
Mhm.
and it's my first one of these that I've written. And I'm hoping to get it submitted to a journal article, but basically it's due in a few days, and I know my topic. I just am really having trouble, honestly, getting started with it. And I feel like I know what I want to say, but I just can't get it written down.
So, in the writing process, you don't have anything written quite yet. Is that correct?
I have like some of the easy stuff written out, I mean, I have like summaries of like the other research and like existing situation. So I can like summarize everything that's currently going on, but like the stuff that I'm trying to say and add on to fill that gap. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm having trouble like putting my own thoughts and words into it.
Okay. So, I guess just a quick question, like what would you consider your writing process? Like how do you normally go about getting ideas on the page for these kinds of assignments?
Well, I mean, I normally do this. I like have my research, and I'll sort of like finish doing all of my research and then decide on my topic, and then I outline what I want to say, like start to finish, based on everything I've researched, and then based on that outline, I'll develop it into paragraphs.
Okay, great. I mean, that sounds like a lot of good pre-writing strategies. It sounds like what you might be missing is something that's generating your own thoughts that you're going to then integrate into the paper. So one of the things I think of is free writing. Have you ever heard of that pre-writing strategy?
No.
So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to time yourself for a set period of time, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and just write what comes to mind in relation to your QI. Because it sounds like at this point you're pretty deep into the project. So you have those parameters, you're just needing to generate like text. And maybe that's a way to do it.
I don't know. I feel like if I did that, it would be really disorganized, and that's what I really like about the outline is that it's already organized as I do it. And I feel like the free write would just be like very chaotic, and I don't want to have to do more work and like go back in and edit it. You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes I think the thing that can happen if we're only relying on those organizational tools like outlines is that we can actually unintentionally like kind of hem ourselves in when what we're needing is a little bit more of an open format to generate that text. So I would recommend literally setting your research and outline aside and just getting a blank page, whether it's a pad of paper or on your laptop, and just like writing into those questions, like writing into that space, and then figuring out how to integrate that information into your organizational tools. Because you kind of need both at the same time. You need that organization and you need a little bit of that kind of freedom to have your ideas um, be generated.
I guess, I mean, it's just like it scares me to change up the way that I do it because this has worked for me. It's the way I've always done it. And like the idea of changing it up and doing something like more free writing, like what you said, like literally the idea of the blank page in front of me gives me anxiety. And I don't know, I'm scared of the idea of trying it. I don't like, I'm not a good writer, so I don't know if that exercise would work for me.
I totally understand that. I think it can be really overwhelming. And the thing about writing is like no one's good at it. It's actually a skill that you learn. It's not something that you just you're born with. It's something that you have to train yourself to do. And so I can totally understand why that might feel overwhelming. But something that I like to do, which we can towards the end of our session, maybe we can schedule this in your actual calendar, is I like to write for 15 minutes a day on a blank page.
Mm.
And then that way it's such a small parameter of time. It's enough to be generative and productive, but not enough to sort of get in your head and psych yourself out. So I think we might need to, before we even like jump into this assignment, we might need to talk about some of those things, those like bigger picture process things that'll help you strengthen your writing process. Because it sounds like you have research and organization down. It sounds like that's something you're comfortable with. And now we just have to add like other tools to the toolbox, which might be free writing and things like that.
When you free write in the morning in those sessions, do you like, is it about your research?
It can be. That's the thing about research. I mean, excuse me, about these pre-writing exercises is that you can tailor them and adjust them depending on what you're getting. So if you are like, okay, just write about anything and that feels too vast and too overwhelming, you can then literally write at the top of the page or type at the top of the page, like a sort of guiding principle. So if you are wanting to somehow insert your own voice onto your research, maybe you write the article that you're commenting on and then write, you know, what you took away from that article, what you thought was important, how it comments on your own research, and then kind of read through it and pull out the points that are applicable and then add it to your paper. So you can do much more like specific free writing. It's really kind of finding what is comfortable and generative for you. And that just takes practice, like any skill.
Okay. Yeah, I could try it.
Yeah. I mean, we could even do it right now together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could set a timer for 15 minutes. We could put our heads down and free write, and then we could talk through what you've written and kind of figure out what it's saying, what it's potentially adding to your QI, and kind of practice going through the information you've generated
Mhm.
and plugging it back into your paper.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Let's give it a try.
Okay. All right, so that's our 15 minutes. How did it go? How do you feel?
Honestly, I feel like I wrote more than I was expecting, but also still like not as much as I would have been happy with. Um, but honestly, like it did help me just kind of like word vomit out things that I feel like I know are going to need to be in there. And it is kind of a chaotic like word dump, but like I feel like I can use some of it and like me having like the outline and organization, I can see where it would go in the paper. So I think that like was helpful, like getting started with getting words on the page. And I feel like if I did it again, it would help me get more. So I mean, yeah, it's okay.
That's great. And it's okay that you're still like a little bit uncertain. It's just going to take practice. And one thing I'll suggest as you go forward with free writing is that you can literally pull out the things that you feel like were productive and put them on their own page and then write deeper into that space, if that makes sense. So it's always this tool that you can like walk back and walk forward, and like you can narrow and you can widen. So you really just can use it and have it meet you where you are, like as a writer and also where your project is. So it sounds like to me it was a great first free write. So
Yeah.
just keep it up. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about, because I know you mentioned this assignment was due in 3 days. Do you have another assignment coming up that you'd want to work on together?
Not for this class. I mean, I know we'll have papers in the future, but also like honestly, my dissertation, like that is looming over my back. I'm gonna have to get started on that. I'd like to get started on it sooner rather than later because it's gonna be such a big thing, but like I do not know where to start with that.
Well, here's what I'd recommend. The dissertation is obviously a big project. So what we could do is kind of create a schedule around certain sections. But what I would recommend is that we set kind of small goals, like today we're going to work on our methodology section or something like that. And let's give ourselves 2 weeks to that goal, right? So let's pick an arbitrary goal and then let's walk back our appointment 2 weeks to that. Because really the thing about writing that I think sometimes can be sort of mysterious is that most writers and students and professors, I think that when you sit down and write, it's the final draft that's writing, but actually like all of the pre-writing, so the research, the outlining, the free writing, all of that is part of the writing process and it takes time. So let's work on giving writing more time, and that'll also help with your personal process.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
It does sound good. So I think basically after this QI is due this week, I'll be mostly only focused on my dissertation. So I'll get like more of a solid timeline with that, but 2 weeks sounds like a good plan.
Great.
Like before the due dates. So I don't know how should I come in for an appointment to flush out ideas, or should I like schedule an appointment once I have my ideas and I have my due dates?
It's whatever you need. We can literally do an entire appointment around scheduling, like just coming up with our rough outlining calendar and book our appointments together. If you don't know where to start, we can brainstorm together and try to generate ideas. So I can help you at any step of the process. So you don't
Okay.
ever have to feel like you have to come with words on the page. You can come with nothing. You can come with a significant amount and we can break that down. I'm really just here to assist you at all stages of the writing process.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's been super helpful because when I've come in before, I always come in just with my final draft for edits. And like it's been helpful. Like I've gotten help with my grammar and stuff, but now I'm at a point where like it's kind of the same thing over and over again. So that's why I came in like not earlier this time because it's due in 3 days, but like at a earlier stage, I guess.
Totally. Well, I hear you. We're typically not an editing service, so we really are more process oriented. But one thing I can do is kind of show you grammar, like basics, and teach you how to use grammar as a tool going forward. And that's something we could do as part of a session. We could dedicate a whole session to it. But my goal is to help you be able to really take full ownership of all steps of the writing process and just start to feel more and more comfortable and capable.
It's like a weight off of my shoulders, kind of.
Good. That's so wonderful to hear.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hop off and keep working on this as best I can, and then you'll probably see an appointment that I book maybe in like the next week or so to start, I don't know, planning the dissertation. I'll get help with my advisor too, so I can at least come with, I don't know, some sort of guidance for us to work with.
That's great. I
Okay.
always recommend students talk to their faculty and support.
Yeah. Okay.
I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah. See you later, and thanks so much for your help today.
Of course.